Hello, everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. We're going to be talking about quite a lot of things tonight. Ronaldo contacts United. This is coming in from ESPN. And we'll also be talking about, well, it's a new update on Jadon Sancho, as well as Paul Pogba, Cristiano Ronaldo, he's a centre-back actually, Marcus Rashford, overload, and a few other things as well. So welcome to the show. Sorry a little bit late tonight, but I had a problem with my computer. I thought it was going to take off. It's very hot, and I think I had to do a download for the fan to make sure it would not be ruining the show. So there we go. So let's fly straight into it. I'll give you the update on Jadon Sancho, and then we'll get into what's been said about Cristiano Ronaldo. So this is coming from The Times today, which is a British outlet, and they're saying Manchester United just in are moving close, not just in the person like a boy, just in Manchester United are moving closer to reaching an agreement with Dortmund to sign Sancho after the asking price fell to 80 million plus add-ons. This is coming from The Times, and look, Dortmund willing to accept £80 million plus add-ons for Sancho, which leaves all parties believing a solution can be found this summer. Sancho is keen to have his future resolved as early as possible, but it may be complicated by England's Euro campaign beginning on Sunday against Croatia. Man United are the front runners to sign him. Now, this sort of story, look, and I'm not digging out this person. I'm not doing that, but the reality, people are saying, what does NRG mean? This is a classic Sampdoria top. I've had it for, I got it sent to me by, it's on that 90% Club. Got it sent by Lyle and Scott at Christmas, but I couldn't wear it because it wasn't warm enough. So this is a Sampdoria classic top done with Lyle and Scott. So I love energy. We need energy for the Sancho deal. But no, I love Sampdoria from the early 90s. I love Italian football, and Mancini and Vialli, Sampdoria legends. Yeah, so there you go. But anyway, let's get on with the show. So this story from The Times, I saw a few people talking about it this afternoon, getting excited about it. What is this story? Oh, Man United are close to a deal for Jadon Sancho for around £80 million. Did Fabrizio Romano not mention that 2 weeks ago? Has this not been the story all weekend? Yes, it has. Is this regurgitation of the same old story? Yes. Did I talk about this 2 days ago? Yes. Unfortunately, this is not new. This story from The Times is not new. But you're going to get a lot of this over the next few weeks. Regurgitation of the same story. Sancho deal is so close you can almost taste it. Reaching in. What's that song? Reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions, feel the world on your lips. I mean, I don't know who sang that. Natasha Bedingfield, I think it was. How do I know that? But this sort of story is going to keep happening. I'm not interested in The Times saying that we're close to signing Sancho for 80 million because I've known that for about 2 weeks. It's not new story. It's not new info. It's regurgitation. And what happens is that newspaper probably says to its writer, we need a big Sancho story to get loads of people reading our article. Right. I've been to journalism college. I've got a degree. I can just reword this information from Thursday today and make it sound like new information. Great, let's run it. They fell for it. I don't take that story as anything new. Sancho's available for around 80 million. Wow, God, breaking news. What I would say is, if we spend £80 million plus £20 million, oh, Dortmund have seen us coming. Oh, I'm sorry, Dortmund have seen us coming. 80 million max. No add-ons, nothing. £80 million for Sancho, or forget it. Go and get Grealish, because Sancho is not worth 80 million plus add-ons. This is Jadon Sancho with 2 years left on his contract. This is Jadon Sancho, who's a fantastic talent, but he is not a £100 million player. Not with add-ons. So if United, I'm getting a little bit worried. I heard something at the weekend about United having to break their record to get Sancho. Don't do it. He's not. Don't go over 89 million. No, he is not worth that money. I'm telling you. And I like Sancho. I think he's a fantastic player. He's got 2 years left on his contract. We're in a COVID market. Dortmund need to sell 80 million or forget it. I'd even miss out on him. Don't go above 80 million. Don't get your pants pulled down again and then walk in like a boss going, we've done it, everybody. Yeah, you've spent too much money again. You've done it again. You've gone and spent too much money again. Thoughts on Saul Niguez, says Thomas Needham. Also, if Sancho doesn't happen, would you have St. Maximin? I think Trippier and Sancho on the right would transform us, says Thomas Needham. And City and Chelsea would have signed Sancho, Rice, Kane and Varane by now. Remember, less than 2 years ago, we beat the 4-0. Look where Chelsea was then. And now they are champions of Europe, says Mark Friedman. Well, I want to talk about this Ronaldo story because it is the headline and I'm anxious that we do that. But can I just say, Chelsea are looking to sign Haaland from Dortmund. This is a bad thing. Sorry, not that way. This is a bad thing on 2 reasons, right? One, if they're efficient and they get Haaland done before we get Sancho done, Dortmund might say we're not selling 2 players. So that's one reason United need to get their arse into gear. Because I don't think Dortmund, once they get the Haaland money, will say we're going to sell Sancho. So United need to get moving for that reason. Point 2, going back to what someone just said then, if Chelsea get Haaland, they're basically title contenders. They're adding a world-class striker to the one position they need. United still haven't got a bloody midfield. So, we are obsessing over Jadon Sancho. I don't even think it's the priority position. Ollie could call Basuma Evie because his first name's Eves is pronounced like the name Eve. Evie, says James Wilson. Okay, you've thought it through. Bin Sancho, get Rafinha and Basuma with that 81 million. We are going to sign Sancho, so I don't want people to start moving away from Sancho. We are going to sign Sancho, but I do agree that the midfield position is really important. I've just noticed how obvious that NRG thing is now. Energy. Maybe if Ed Woodward is watching or someone from United, get some fucking energy. Hey Mark, thoughts on the Harry Winks rumours, says Anakrag. I've spoken about it before. For me, it's not the right signing now. I did like him 18 months ago. I think it's, if he didn't have a British passport, would we be looking at him? That's what I would say. But anyway, let's talk about this headline story from the ESPN. So this is coming from ESPN, that Cristiano Ronaldo has been in contact with Manchester United, PSG and Real Madrid about the likelihood of a transfer this summer. Now, some people will say, oh, it's ESPN, they talk out their arse. The thing is, I think as a United fan base, when it comes to Ronaldo this summer, I would say if you ran a poll, and you can put it in the comments if you want, would you want Ronaldo? Is he a player that you're thinking about at the moment? I think most people would say no, because we've got other things that are more important, and we've also got Cavani for another year. So why would we want Ronaldo? And I disagree with that, which I'll say for in a minute. But have no doubts that Cristiano Ronaldo wants to leave Juventus and Juventus wants him to leave. So Manchester United have been contacted by Jorge Mendes and Ronaldo about potentially coming to United. They were contacted 3 years ago when he went to Juventus, and United had, under Mourinho, said no. And United will probably say no this time. But for people to say, oh, it's a load of bollocks, we get this every summer. Well, we do get it every summer, but to be fair, in the last 8 summers, 3 of them, Ronaldo could have come back. The summer that Sir Alex Ferguson retired, he wanted to bring him back, but he retired. 3 years ago when he went to Juventus, United were approached about it and Mourinho said no. And this summer, he's approaching United again, and we're probably going to say no. So for everyone who says, oh, it's a load of nonsense about Ronaldo, it's not a load of nonsense. It's probably not going to happen, but it's not a load of nonsense. He is looking to leave Juventus, and Juventus are looking to move him on. So, and it's PSG, United and Real Madrid. PSG, obviously United and Madrid he's played for. PSG he hasn't played for. I think he will. I don't know. I think that this summer is. I think people are sleeping on this summer. I don't think people realise what's going to happen this summer. Like, it's not just about Jadon Sancho. I think Haaland could end up at Chelsea. I think Ronaldo will move. I think Mbappe might move. I think there's going to be some really, really big moves. I think July and August is going to be massive. But look. To just close off Ronaldo and talk about something else. Darren G says he reckons he'll go to PSG. David Lee says Ronaldo's the OAPFC. I'm very grateful for that comment, actually, because I haven't watched Serie A as much as I normally do. I didn't watch any La Liga this year. I didn't watch any of the French League. I didn't watch any Bundesliga. I watched a lot of highlights from all the leagues, but I didn't really watch 90-minute games this season because we had so much Premier League football. I just found it hard to follow anything else. But look, I'm wearing a Sampdoria top. I've always been a massive fan of Serie A football since the Italia 90 when I was a kid. Juventus are my favourite Italian team. So I do keep an eye on Ronaldo and I do keep an eye on Juventus. And anybody who thinks that Ronaldo wouldn't come here and win the Golden Boot is sleeping on Ronaldo. Like, you can call him OAP. was it 2 years ago when he was like 34? They ran fitness tests on him and he had the body of a 26-year-old. So I'm not worried about Ronaldo's fitness levels. I think he's got 2 years left in him at the very top. 2 years where he'll still be in the conversation as one of the top 5 players in the world. Ronaldo, if you put Ronaldo in a Spurs shirt, or you put him in a Man City shirt, or you put him in an Arsenal shirt, or you put him in a Leicester shirt, he will probably still win the Golden Boot in the Premier League. Like, he is still magnificent. He's not the player he was, but what he was one of the best players the world's ever seen. He's still one of the best players in the world. He's just not one of the best players the world's ever seen at the moment, because there has been a drop-off. But as a number 9 for United, he'd score loads of goals. He'd be a fantastic player. He'd probably be our best player. You know, he probably would be. I think people just, you know, like Ronaldo and Messi, all right, they're starting to drop off. But their level was so high, they're still better than everybody else. So Ronaldo at United, I mean, I'd love Ronaldo back at United because I'm a fantasist, a romantic. I want to see Ronaldo back in a United shirt. I'd just love to see it. I think I'd cry happy tears. But I would take him at United, yeah, I would. I still think he's a fantastic player. Ronaldo would work so well if we got him next summer. We have Cavani and we need to invest in a CDM and a centre-back. Ricey and Varane are my dream, says Lucas JP. I don't think United will move for Ronaldo, but I certainly think Ronaldo will have a conversation with United about it. And maybe he will wait for another year. I mean, look, would you take him at 37? That might be a little bit too much. But look, you know, rest assured, United definitely have been approached about a Ronaldo deal. I just don't think they will do it because of the finances. Could Haaland to Chelsea be a rumour by Dortmund to make United panic and put in requests for top dollars, says Ronald Jacob. It's not, Ronald. It's not, actually. It's because Chelsea are ruthless in the transfer window. Remember, I've mentioned this over the years. In a transfer, if you're going to be good in the transfer window, you've got to be ruthless and aggressive. Chelsea are ruthless and aggressive. They will get rid of players ruthlessly and they will go after players aggressively. United are neither ruthless or aggressive in the transfer window. We're timid and weak and slow. I don't think Dortmund are mentioning Chelsea being after Haaland at all. I don't think it's coming from Dortmund at all. Dortmund do not want to sell Haaland. The interesting thing with this is, Man United for Life says Ollie can use Euro 2020 to bolster Man United Premier League title ambitions, saying even news. So he'll watch players Euro target he wants. Okay. I think that what you have here with Chelsea and Haaland is Dortmund don't want to sell him, but Chelsea aggressively are going to get him. Now, what you're going to see here, if I'm absolutely honest, is you're going to see a contrast between United's transfer policy and Chelsea's transfer policy. Now, you look at United last year with Sancho. We wanted him. Ollie wanted him. He wanted to come to United, and Dortmund went, up yours. We are the dominant club in this. You're not getting this player. Even though this player wants to go to you and you want him, you're not getting him, and he's not forcing his way out of this club. Do you think that's going to work with Chelsea? I don't think it will. I think Chelsea will get that player out if they want to. And I think Chelsea want to because they need a top-class number 9. And I think that's just an example of how Man United's transfer policy is shit compared to Chelsea. Because Chelsea's policy is get the players needed to win a trophy. United's policy is try and get the players needed to win a trophy, but at the right price. We are a business. They are a football club. So I think Chelsea after Haaland is a story because Chelsea want the story, not because Dortmund are trying to force United to pay up for Sancho. Dortmund don't want to lose Haaland. Don't you think Ronaldo will make a good player to rotate with Cavani? We need to keep in mind Cavani is injury prone. We might not have Rashi, says Sashin. I think you might be right on that. Aya, did you know this? I'm glad you mentioned Rashford. I could not believe this. Sit down if you are, and if you're ready, I'll tell you. If Marcus Rashford plays against Croatia for England on Sunday and Scotland the following Friday, he'll have played 75 games in a calendar year. That is disgraceful on the part of England and Manchester United. 75 games for a player of that age who's been carrying injuries for, well, to be fair, probably for most of the 12 months. Because if you think about Marcus Rashford, he did the shoulder, didn't he, before COVID? In the January, he did his shoulder. No, his back. Just before COVID hit in the March, he did his back. He came back in the June, pardon the pun, but it was a back injury. I remember Van Persie saying that back injury probably won't be done in 5 months. He'll probably be carrying something for a long time. So he probably came back still carrying something, and then by Christmas he was carrying injuries on ankles and shoulders. So we've played him 75 times in a calendar year if he plays these next 2 games, and he's been injured for a lot of that. I mean, I've got to say, England Football Club and Manchester United Football Club, whether you're the coach, whether you're fitness conditioning or not, that's appalling. That is absolutely appalling. It's not. I don't. You know, people say it's Rashford's fault or Rashford's manager's fault or Rashford's agent's fault. Whatever. How can it be? You know, Marcus Rashford wants to play football, and he's going to say, "I want to play football." And Marcus Rashford could be on this show now saying, "I want to play football. Stop moaning." And I would say to Rashford, "But I've got your best interests at heart, Marcus. I've seen Wayne Rooney. I've seen Wayne Rooney overplayed and be finished before he's 30. I've seen Michael Owen the same. You have played 75 games in a calendar year, carrying injuries. You're going to be done by the time you're 28. If I was your coach, I don't care whether you fall out with me or not, I wouldn't have played you 75 times in the last calendar year. I would have tried to get that down to around 50, which is a third of your games. You've played a third too many for me, because I'm interested in you playing for the next 10 years, not the next 10 months. So I think it's appalling. Absolutely appalling that he's played that football. Chelsea Football Club need a stone cold killer hitman in a grime reaper to kill games. Stone cold, says Liam Deacon. Hi Mark, what happens with Pogba if Ronaldo moves on? Can we get Grealish, says Didier. And would love if United went... I mean, I would get Grealish as Pogba's replacement, but you know United won't do that. Would love if United went for Ronaldo next summer. We might be working on the deal from now, says Imran. And Kieran Burns says, for me, one of my biggest concerns is if failure to move players on. City, Chelsea, Liverpool seem to be able to do it at their ease, says Kieran Byrne. And I did my back when I was 16 and it took a month off, then kept going. I'm 32 now with chronic back issues. We've ruined Rashford and he's done by 26, says Brandon. I mean, look, I want to move on, but I do think that the treatment, the management of Marcus Rashford has been weak. I could not believe 75 games in a year and he's carrying injuries. It's just, you're running him into the ground. And so many of you have said it over the last sort of 6 months that Rashford needs a rest. He's been run into the ground. It's not fair on him. But Mark, do you think Sancho really wants to come to United, says Jaylings Fab? Yes, I do. I mean, talk about Marcus Rashford. He's got a great friendship with Marcus Rashford. You know, I think Sancho's very brand aware. You know, he does the Pepsi adverts and everything. Man United's a great club to come through to that. And I also think if you're Jadon Sancho, you probably look at United and go, look, they've not won anything major for a while. I could be that player that goes in and takes them to that next level. And footballers like that sort of thing as well. Plus, he wants to play in England. I think he does. I think Sancho does want to come to United. Yeah. Ronaldo could be the backup plan in Glazer's pockets if Sancho isn't done by the end of the transfer window, just like Cavani, says Ronald Jacob. I think going back to Sancho for a moment, I just think the big problem, and I've said this to a few people today, I think the big problem with the Sancho deal, unfortunately, is that for some reason, it became this thing last Monday. And look, I had people telling me it as well. I said it at the time. There does seem to be some noise that this deal is going to happen before the Euros. But what did I say? I don't believe it. And people I trust are telling me that there is a real possibility, but I don't believe it was going to happen. So I've always been quite relaxed that it wouldn't happen before the Euros. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people put a lot of weight on that story that it was going to happen before the Euros. And look, it still could. Very, very unlikely, but it still could. And for me, I just never expected it to happen before the Euros. But I think people are getting more stressed and panicky about this Sancho deal because they really wanted it to happen before the Euros and they really believed it was. And now that it's not, they know that it's going to be a month before it happens because that's the reality. Rafael Varane, Pau Torres, Jadon Sancho, Kieran Trippier, Declan Rice. We're not going to sign all those players, by the way. But if United are going to sign any of those players, none of them are going to sign until the middle of July now because the Euros is going to run till the start of July. And even if you get knocked out, you're going to go on holiday, aren't you? So we pretty much know that in relation to Sancho, that if he doesn't sign tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday, he's not going to sign. And to be honest, I think if he doesn't sign tomorrow, he doesn't sign because I can't see Southgate allowing anything like that from tomorrow night on because it's all about the game on Sunday lunchtime. So I think well, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I think there are a lot of fans that are a little bit pissed off really that it's not happened before the Euros, because they know if it doesn't happen before the Euros, it's not happening till July, which is still a month away. I never expected it to. Team viewer shirts, marquee signing. Thoughts on Aaron Wan-Bissaka at centre-back? Pre-season's going to be huge. It makes me want to throw up, Anurag. And Mark, AMC is going to the moon, says Roger. And Ronaldo wants to come back. Yep, we've spoken about that, Inderjeet. And Matthew says the Sancho deal is very frustrating. Leicester are done with their second signing and here we're still rubbing our hands, says Sumak. I don't know who the second signing is for Leicester, so there you go. Is Ronaldo coming to United, or is it just a rumour, says Gamer Boy? I'm just going to have to pop my glasses on here because I need to read some of these chats. The Ronaldo thing is what it is. He is looking at options to leave Juventus, and United is an option. But do I think it will happen? No. Welcome to the Members Club, Mirabelle. Thank you very much for that. I always forget about the Members Club. If you want to join the Members Club and support the channel, you'll see that people like Dexter have got a badge next to their name, as has Susan Brandon. And now Mirabelle does as well. If you want to get a badge next to your name and support the channel, click the join button and become a member. Somebody just told me to check Twitter, which I am always happy to do whilst we're live, so I can do that for you. Just while I'm doing that, has anybody seen the interview with Paul Pogba for France? Oh my God. I mean, I know he talks a little bit when he's with United, but the way he talks when he's with France, and I don't know, I've always said this about Pogba, he loves playing for France. Definitely more than playing for Man United. Playing for France, I don't know whether it's because he grew up with these lads or it's his national team. The way he talks when he's with France, his aura when he's with France, you can tell he's at his most happiest. And I'm always quite jealous of that. Not from a United point of view, just from an England point of view. I think those French players really look forward to joining up, and they've got a good camaraderie. But basically, he was talking about things like being the favourites, and being the favourites can turn ugly, and we can't have any egos. We've got to work really hard. Just talking, really, really openly about France and how much how they are the favourites, but they've got to work at it. And I just think when I listen to Pogba there, I just think we never really did what we were meant to do with Paul Pogba. We never really did surround him with those players that he's got with France. Give him a platform to really enjoy it and not have the pressure. So, yeah. Kieran Trippier is expected to return to the Premier League this summer, with Manchester United waiting in the wings. Hector Bellerin is leading target to replace Trippier at Atletico Madrid, and that's from CBS Sports Soccer. Sevilla want to include Mounier Al-Haddadi in the operation to sign Mauro Arambarri. Manchester United and Atletico Madrid are also among Arambarri's suitors, though he is not one of the first options for United, and Atletico have financial problems. I don't see I don't see United getting that Arambarri from was it Getafe he plays for? I always get them mixed up. But no, I don't see that happening at all. And as for Trippier, I think it's stating the obvious, really. I think it's stating the obvious with Trippier. He will leave, and I think that he will end up in the Premier League, probably at Manchester United. Yes. Oh, we've had a few members here coming in. Let me just thank them. Thank you very much. There's a few people to catch up on here. Gary Turner says, Belgian journalist Sven Klaas says United are making moves to Yuri Tillemans. Gary, I don't want to be rude because you're good as a super chat, so big up to Gary, but literally spoke about it this morning on the morning show, so I can't really repeat what I said on the morning show, but yeah, you're right. And he is quite credible, apparently. After watching, and I would take Tillemans, by the way. After watching Grealish in the few friendlies, he should be top of our transfer list, says Sean Turner. Put him in a decent team and he'll be world class. Did say that this morning as well, and Sean totally agree with it. Sad, welcome to the members club. Mark, did you see Arsenal are interested in Trippier in a swap deal, says Tomo. He won't go to Arsenal. Have I missed anything important, says Ollie. Everything. You've missed 25 minutes of brilliance, Ollie. And welcome to the members club, Steve Hunter. Let's see the greatest Premier League player back. Sack Ollie and make him player manager, says Amy Assey. Don't know what you're talking about. And hello, Mark. I think we need to get this Sancho deal done before the Euros and we can unveil him afterward. We need time to do other deals, so let's get this done. Are we in for Varane, says Vignesh. That was the thing that made me most happy about the thought or prospect of Sancho signing for United before the Euros. That was that we would park a deal and then move on to a new deal. But I want to be wrong on this. I want to be wrong on what I'm about to say. But when I really don't expect us to sign Sancho or anybody before the Euros. I don't expect us to sign anybody before June. And the reason I don't expect it is because we just don't do it every year. I said this 2 months ago. We are going into a massive summer for United. But I've said this for 4 of the last 5 years. This is going to be a massive summer for United. This is going to be a massive summer for United. And it never is. We always end up towards the end of the window going, I can't believe we've gone on tour and we haven't signed anybody. I can't believe we're starting the season and we haven't signed anybody. Year after year after year, it happens. United love to drag deals out because the longer it drags out, the shorter time it is to do loads of deals at the end of the window. It's a tactic of United. Leak interest in a player at the start of the window to generate interest. Take bloody ages to do it so that you can only do one deal. Remember Bruno in that January? We actually wanted a midfielder and a striker. They took all of January to get Bruno done so that then on the last day we ended up with a Garlo. Like, they do it on purpose. They drag it out on purpose because they see the transfer window as a period of time that they're going to get a lot of pressure on. So if you can manage that transfer window, then, you're going to be fine. And I do think that we are in for a massive transfer window, but it doesn't mean that we'll take advantage of it. So, yeah, I'd love to have seen Sancho signed this week and then you could start looking at other players, but unfortunately, as I said a few minutes ago, Sancho, Rice, Varane, Torres, Trippier, they're all playing in the Euros, so that's a month gone. We had a few days before the Euros to get a deal done, and we didn't. So basically, we've lost all of June now. Unless we're going to go and sign a Basuma who's not in the Euros, or we're going to go and sign a player who's not in the Euros, then it's gone. Koundé's in the Euros as well. So, yeah, we're not going to get talking to these players until early July now. Did you see Andreas saying he would like to stay in Lazio and they're keen, but all parties are waiting for United answers? We're so slow at everything. Yeah, I did read that, Sean, and I think that Pereira should never be back at United. One good thing I have forgot to say this morning, though. Remember, Ben White got picked for the England squad. That's not a good thing. But of course, that meant that Jesse Lingard didn't get taken. So I think for Lingard, very disappointing for Lingard, but from a United point of view and for a Jesse point of view, this could be a positive, because what you want to see with Lingard is he's going to go on holiday, and he's going to have a good time. And why are people telling me about MUFC MPB when we've literally just spoken about this story about Trippier? It's literally a regurgitation. But yeah, the good thing about Jesse Lingard for me is that he's not in the Euro squad, which means he'll go on holiday this month. And while he's on holiday, he'll have a think about his future. And he'll be back from holiday, sort of back end of June. And he won't be involved. If Lingard had gone with England, his focus would be England for a month. Well, his focus for the next month is what am I going to do next? Now, is Lingard going to go on holiday, come back pre-season training with United and try and win his place back? He might decide to do that. Is Lingard going to go on holiday and think, I should have been in the Euros, I missed out because I spent half of the season at United not being used, and the half the season I had at West Ham, where I did brilliant, couldn't get me in ahead of Mount, Grealish and Foden, who had great seasons. I need a move. So, and if Lingard does want to move, that deal can be done quite quickly because he's not part of the England setup. So, hopefully we will get some advancement on a Lingard thing. But look, don't think that Lingard won't stay at United. He might decide he wants to fight for his place. I can't see how he gets in a United side. For me, I like Lingard, but I don't want him at United anymore. I think that ship has sailed. What if Lingard comes back, has a good month and then has a bad 3 months? Everyone will say, oh, it's the same old Lingard. He needs a fresh challenge. The World Cup is in 18 months. This is the thing I would say to Lingard. The World Cup is in 18 months. You were so close to getting into this Euro squad, and the World Cup is in 18 months. You need to play first team football like you did for West Ham all of next season and at the start of next season, and you will go to the World Cup if you replicate that form. You need to go to Leicester. You need to go to West Ham. Maybe even Arsenal. You need to go somewhere where you're going to play all the time. And Arsenal fans will go, we don't want Lingard. He'd be better than most of what players you've got. So if I was Lingard, I'd be thinking about that World Cup and what's the best chance I've got. If you stay at United, forget the World Cup. You won't play enough games to go to the World Cup. So, yeah, hopefully Lingard will sort his future out. Thoughts on Saul Niguez, says Sam May. There is talk of Saul Niguez. Marker saying that Saul Niguez is well placed to get a move to Manchester United for £80 million. We've been linked with Saul Niguez ever since I started doing the United Stand, so I'm not going to pretend that I think this deal will happen. I don't think Saul Niguez will ever happen to Manchester United. I don't think that Saul Niguez really is the sort of player that we want either. He's not a centre defensive midfielder. He's more like Tielemans. He can play in the pivot, but he's not really the CDM. So I don't think United would go for Saul Niguez. Not for that sort of money. I don't know where United would get that sort of money. Andreas, Mata and possibly James will all leave, and it will be open up the space for Lingard on the squad, and he will sign a new deal, says Sean Turner. I'll tell you what, Sean, I guarantee you now that Pereira, Mata and James won't all go. Even though they probably should, I bet they won't. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if 2 of them end up staying. I really hope to see a change in transfer tactics this summer. We apparently hired a director of football. Hope we can get deals done quickly, says Vignesh. Well, there's a good point that's been made there about that. And effectively, it's along the lines of this. As much as we're talking about players coming into the club, what about players going out of the club? What about players who are going to leave the club? And what I mean by that is, what if there's a lot of players to leave this football club? 3 of them were just mentioned there, but they're not all going to leave. So Dalot, Pereira, Mata, Matic, Lingard, James, that's 6. Who else? Twansebi's rumoured to go. David De Gea's rumoured to go. That's 8. Jones, 9. Some people would sell Martial, 10. We ain't selling 10 players. We won't even sell 5. So next season, we're definitely still going to have people like Dan James, Awan Mata, maybe a Lingard, maybe Dalot still on loan. We're still going to have a lot of the deadwood. But people say, well, there's going to be space for them on the bench. But those bench places should be going for Diallo. Those bench places should be going for Hannibal. That's what those places should be going for. But I don't think we're going to clear house on the deadwood. I really, really don't. Paul Robinson says, if we give Mata a new contract, I'm out, we're done. I'm done. It's a joke. Well, Paul, I disagreed with Mata getting a new contract 2 years ago. And yet I think we will give him a new one. I do. I can't see what you're talking about, Smith. I've just checked MUFC MPB and I can't find it. So there you go. I don't want Phil to go. He's my meme, says La. I'm not reading your second name. Just want to make sure I've covered everything. Pogba, yes. Oh, Cristiano Romero, who is a centre-back. He's at Atalanta, isn't he? I think he's going to Atalanta. Manchester United apparently considering signing him. I've heard that that's not the case. I've always been told that that's not the case. But he is a name that keeps coming up for us. Centre-back, I've heard that that's not the case with that. So, as for Sergio Romero, he's left Manchester United. There's talk that he might be going to join Mourinho at Roma. And Mourinho gobbing off again, having a little bit of a dig at our goalkeepers, saying neither of them are phenomenal. Couldn't give a toss about what Jose said. You're not phenomenal yourself, mate. You're shite. You're living in the past. You're like UK gold. Mark, you don't have to, pal. Maybe Mata is one of those important locker room players, says Nuka. Yeah, but look, I don't believe in this. I really don't believe in this. I've played football all my life. I'm sure many of you have played football all your life. Is there a substitute that you wouldn't get rid of because they're great in the dressing room? I've never heard such shite in all my life. I really haven't heard such shit in all my life. You can't get can't get rid of Juan Mata because he might be brilliant in the dressing room. We're paying him 140k a week to be a cheerleader then. He's a footballer on 140k a week. He's on more than most Liverpool first teamers. And we're paying him 140k a week because he's good in the dressing room. Juan Mata is a legend. maybe he's not a United legend, but of the game, I think he's had a brilliant career. But he's not up to it anymore. And this is what I mean about ruthlessness and aggression. It's not personal. It's not about him not being a nice guy. It's about Man United. We have not been anywhere near a title. Why doesn't someone in that club realise we've not been near a title since Sir Alex Ferguson left? But we think we can carry Deadwood. Like, has anyone ever sat down and thought, we've never been anywhere near a title? I wonder why that is. Yet we're renewing contracts for people who are finished. Maybe that's the reason. Or maybe it's one of the reasons. I am not paying 140k for somebody who might be influential on the dressing room. I want someone who's influential on the pitch. 140k could buy you a player and give them good 80k, 100k a week would get you a player who's influential on the pitch. We'll definitely be sitting here in August waiting for Sancho to sign, says Jacob. No, I do actually think positivity, one way or another, Sancho deal will be resolved by mid-July. Do you think Martial can thrive with better service from Sancho, or like when Pogba was playing left-sided attacks, says Anarud? I don't think Martial's going anywhere. I think anybody who thinks that Martial's going anywhere, listen to the list I've just said. Dalot, Pereira, Matic, Mata, Lingard, James, the keeper. There's 7 players that are going to, Phil Jones, 8, that are going to get looked at way before Martial. And we haven't got the time to do it. We need to go and get Grealish, world-class, party destructive, and can play through the lines. Varane, world-class, back in the day, we would get these players, says Paul B. I agree with you, Paul. I really would like us to go and get Jack Grealish, but I'm not so sure we will. Chuck us some questions then. Not trying to say, Mark, love to your videos, but some of your videos are regurgitation, says Abdul. No, mate, of course. Look, our videos, the morning show, is a news show. So you're going to get regurgitation because we are talking about the news. So I don't have any problem with that. Of course that's going to be the case. And thank you for you acknowledging that, because there are still people who watch the news show and think we make the news up. Like the news show and the headlines in the news. And even the show tonight is from the news. So, of course, there's going to be regurgitation because it depends on what the news is that day. And we're in a transfer window. So sometimes we're going to be talking about what the latest news is. We follow the news here, man, says Joshua. United in the end will sign brothers Longstaff Mings. I hope not. I really hope not. Seb training today. Yeah, if you check out my Instagram at GoldbridgeMart, you can see him in his full kit. He enjoyed it. His first ever one. He did quite well. He ran around like he doesn't know what's going on, but he had more positional sense than Fred, so that's a positive. Thanks, Mark, for taking the words lightly, says Abdul. No, I just think sometimes people don't realise that that's going to happen, especially in the summer. Had a nightmare that Man City signed Kane and Chelsea signed Haaland. Think it's going to come true, says Mark. Big clubs do big things. Are we a big club anymore? The transfer window is... That's a good question from Angela, actually. She says, when does the transfer window actually open? And I think... you are amazing, says Sad. Thank you very much. So are you, Bates. I think the transfer window is open. I'm pretty sure it was open... I know it closes on the 31st of August, and I think it opens on the 6th of June. So I think it is open. 2 good players from Shakhtar, says Daniel Leachman. I don't know who they are, so I'm not going to read them out. Opens tomorrow, apparently, the transfer window. So there you go. The 9th. So it opens on Wednesday. Okay, so it opens on the Wednesday. Oh, you know what's going to happen then? People are going to think Wednesday it's going to happen. What if Sancho has a poor Euros? Does his value drop? No. And also, can I just say, I don't think Sancho will have a good Euros because I don't think he'll play many games. Some people think England could get knocked out of the group stage, and I don't think Sancho will start. So I think he'll probably play Grealish, Mount and Rashford or Sterling. So I don't think Sancho will start. He certainly didn't play very well yesterday, did he? What would your dream signings be, says Yuzaf. To be honest with you, if we get Sancho, a centre-back and a CDM, I'd be okay with that. I think it shows... I've said before, the CDM is the most important position. If United want to say that they are... If the Glazers want to say that they're trying to build a team to win something, they've got to buy a centre defensive midfielder. And if they don't, it's a failure. I'll be very happy with Varane and Sancho, but I'll still say it's a failure. It's not always about Galactico signings. It's about building a team. I always see a team as a cake. And I think when you've built the cake and you've built the layers, if you want to go and get a Ronaldo or a Haaland and put the icing on the top, or a Harry Kane, I'm fine with that. But United at the moment, we haven't built the layers of the cake. Some would say we haven't even baked the cake, but we certainly haven't built the layers. And a CDM, that's the centre of the cake. That's the central layer. And we need to do it. We need to do it, 100%. Just saw the rumours on Tielemans. What about Van der Beek? Says Sam. Well, yeah, I mean, I think the Tielemans rumours, I think Tielemans is more likely to go to Liverpool because they've lost Wijnaldum. And I think he suits the way Liverpool play. I do think Tielemans has similarities to Thiago. Some would laugh at that, but I do think that I do see similarities. I like Tielemans, and I think he'd be a really good player for United. But I cannot see him in a United. You know, like some people, I can imagine Sancho in a United shirt. And that's probably because of all the edits I've seen. But I can't imagine Tielemans in a United shirt. And I don't think United would go for him. And I also don't think United would go for Tielemans because Leicester see us coming. So I don't think that would happen. But I would like Tielemans. But let's not forget, he wouldn't play the CDM role that we need because he has Ndidi to do that. Would you prefer Rice or Basuma, says Josh? I would still prefer Rice, but we won't get him. If Pogba goes, would you consider his reassignment as a failure, says Dino? If Pogba goes for nothing in a year's time, it's a massive failure on the club because they've lost Pogba twice for nothing and spent 90 million on him. So that would be embarrassing for the club. I don't think Paul Pogba's future gets spoken about enough, and I think that's because people want to focus on more exciting things like signings. But it's not lost on me, and I'm sure it's not lost on you, that if Paul Pogba runs his contract down, which I think he will walk out of the door for nothing for the second time in his career. That is embarrassing. And again, it comes down to poor ownership. There are so many layers to the poor ownership at Manchester United, and that would be an embarrassment. I personally think in relation to Paul Pogba, United need to try and get something out of this deal this summer. If he says, I'm not going to sign a new contract, United need to have some plan in place to get Paul Pogba out of the club. Because if he walks out of the club for nothing next summer, it's going to be embarrassing again. And how many midfielders are we going to let walk out of this club for nothing? Ander Herrera was worth 25 million. Pogba's probably going to be worth 50, 60 million in a year. You're getting on for £100 million worth of players walking out the door for nothing. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. How is it that this amazing community can see that we need a CDM for over 2 seasons, but those idiots in the boardroom won't realise this for another season? Because Jacob, the reality is, most of you can run this club better than these people. And people might laugh at that, but it's true. Most Man United fans could run Manchester United better than the Glazers or Ed Woodward or Richard Arnold or Matt Judge because they ain't football people. They're not football people. They're money men. They don't know anything about football. They really don't. Like, I've seen Woodward on the cameras and the way he reacts to things, you can tell he's not a real football fan. There'll be like a shot that's like offside and he won't realise it or something like. You can just, like when you take somebody to watch the football and they don't know anything about it, they will try and get involved, but it's fake. And that's the problem with United. They've got people in charge of the club who don't know anything about football. So of course we know we need a CDM. They don't know that. They probably think McTominay and Fred are good. Is Garner ready enough to step up the first team and play regularly? I mean, I've spoken about this before, Mojo. In relation to James Garner, I think we've got a really great talent there. But I also know he's got to go on loan next year. If he stays at United, and it does worry me about Ollie. It's not all about the ownership, it's about Ollie as well. It worries me about Ollie because we've seen him do this before. He will keep a young player at the club for a year to have a look at them, but not use them and ruin their development. Brandon Williams. There was another player we did it with the year before. He keeps players at the club and doesn't play them, and then they lose a career development year. Garner is too good not to be playing first team football next year, but he's not ready to play first team football for United. So what Solskjaer will do, it's like a new signing, Karaki. We've got Jimmy. Jimmy is like a new signing. We're going to get him training with the first team, and then, who knows by Christmas? Who knows? He might be on the benchy. But, if he goes to Brighton, he'd play first team football. If he stays at United, he'll lose a year of his career. So for me, he's got to go on loan. But I wouldn't be surprised if we keep him. Are you worried about getting overtaken by Arsenal with Mikel and our generational up-and-coming young players, says Burnt Leno? You're pissed, mate. And Mark, here are some Liverpool players on less wages than Mata. Henderson, Robertson, Trent, Mane, Fabinho and Gomez. Mate, Zed Jamie, that doesn't surprise me. We waste so much money. We're such a badly run club. We waste so much money. What did I say this morning? Last season, we spent over £20 million in wages on players that didn't play. Yeah, that's probably Brighton's wage bill doubled. And we spent it on players that didn't play. £20 million in a season on players that didn't play. We hemorrhage money. We are unbelievable. Unbelievable. How about Wan-Bissaka in CDM? Good on the ball. I'm not talking about that. Nope. Do you think Ndembele would be a good replacement for Pogba? Says Sean, I guess. I mean, I wanted Ndembele at United for a couple of years before he went to Spurs, but I don't think it's a deal that we can do. We need a CDM the most, says Mahir. Who's one player that failed at United that you wish worked out? Two come to mind. Everyone will have different ones. Juan Sebastian Veron. I loved him and I really hoped he was going to work. It didn't quite work. And Schweinsteiger didn't really work the way I wanted it to. I was so excited about Schweinsteiger. So, yeah, probably that one. People are saying Alexis Sanchez, Memphis Depay, they're good ones. What's your opinion on Amad Diallo and how well he performed for his country the other evening? Surely he must have an opportunity at the club soon. Well, Mike, I think Amad Diallo is another player that should have played more football. You know, if you think about the amount of game time Dan James got after Christmas and the amount of time Amad Diallo got, it's pitiful. But, you know, what's happening with Diallo next year if we get Sancho? Because Ollie is going to pick Sancho, Sanchi, Rashi. I don't see where Diallo gets game time next year. I want him to get game time, but, you know, Ollie picks Rashford even if he's injured. He's not going to not pick his new marquee signing. He's also got Greenwood. I just don't see where the game time comes for Diallo. But I do believe in Diallo. We've got a fantastic player. Let's not forget Diallo's performance against Wolves as a false nine. You know, I think Diallo is knocking on this first team door and he's got to be given an opportunity. But I think Diallo could become this season's Van der Beek next year. I think people could be saying, why is Diallo not playing? Because I think he's ready. I think he's a fantastic player. Where's he going to get the game time? I mean, look, Diallo could be better than Sancho. Diallo's 18. Sancho's what, 21? Diallo could be better than Sancho. We may never find out if that's true, but he could be. I think he's a fantastic player. But, you know, Ollie's got this habit of going to buy players in positions he's already got players and neglecting other positions. We've been crying out for a centre defensive midfielder for years. And yet we're going to go and buy another right winger when we've already got quite a few. We're going to buy another centre back when we've got quite a few. I'm not saying we don't need Sancho and we don't need Varane. We do. But we should be spending money on positions that we need as well. But I'm excited by Diallo. I do think he's got a great future and I do think he could be a fantastic player. Ivorian Messi, says McNally. I think he's a fantastic player. And the thing for me as well is because I follow a lot of Italian football, or I used to, but I still keep up to date with like the newspapers and stuff over there. I've always been in touch with what people were saying about Diallo as soon as we got him. And, you know, some of the quotes coming out from the Atalanta players and, you know, people like Fabrizio Romano and the Italian journalists, they were so excited about him. I think he was going to go, wasn't he going to go to Parma? I think he was going to Parma and United jumped in. And there was a lot of people pissed off with that because they really thought they'd got a fantastic player. So I'm excited about Diallo. I think he's a good player, but he's got to be given the opportunities. I like Alanga as well, Nasri. He scored a cracking goal for Sweden under-21s the other day. I like him. I do like Alanga. Is Ollie bad with young players, says Suraj? Well, many people would say no, and they would show a list of all the players he's given debuts to. But I would say, in relation to young players, tell me a young player that he's brought through. Mason Greenwood, well, Mason Greenwood's a generational talent. I think Mourinho would bring him through. I think Sam Allardyce, you know, think of somebody who doesn't use young players. They'd play Greenwood because he's a generational talent. Brandon Williams, well, he used him for a little bit and then he didn't use him for a year. Twan Sebi doesn't use him. He's given a lot of debuts, but does he consistently use them? I think that's something that Ollie does need to improve on. And I would agree with Azad. I think it's a maybe with Ollie on young players. I think the jury is still out. I think he has done bits. I think he does need to do more. Muzzy says he gives debuts, but doesn't follow it up. Randy Cal, who is one of our members, thanks for that. I can see the badges now. Give me Cristiano, says Christian D. Frost, another member. But Randy says, hey Mark, did you see what's happening to Spain and the COVID breach? Do you think this will hinder the Euros and bring it back another week, thus affecting everyone's transfers too? I don't know what's going on with that. Let me just have a quick look if I can find out. I've got no idea what that might be to do with. So let's have a quick look. No, I can't see anything. Let's have a look. Okay, so Spain again has to weather a storm before a major tournament. Captain Sergio Busquets has tested positive for the virus. David De Gea has been mentioned as well. Let's have a look if I can just... oh, no. Okay. No, I don't know what it's all about, but it looks like they've got a bit of a COVID outbreak for Spain, which... I mean, it's not great. It's not great, is it? But, you know, the virus is still around, and it's a massive tournament. So, welcome to the Members Club, Michael Grays. Appreciate that. Ollie doesn't have the win now mentality yet, says Matt. Nope. And Parma are relegated now, says Mikey. And Frozen Bridge. I'm not frozen. Let it go. If rumours of Sterling and Hayes as possibly being a part of deals for a striker are true, do you think City will go for Kane and Grealish and improve while we're still working on last summer's transfers? Look, Chelsea are better than us at transfers. They're probably, if they're 10 out of 10, we're 2 out of 10. Man City are better than us at transfers. If they're 10 out of 10, we're 2 out of 10. Man City don't mess about. I've already said this. Pep's got rid of Aguero. He'd start for us. Like, Fernandinho, I think, has been released. He'd start for us. So Pep Guardiola's got rid of 2 players that would start for us. That is ruthless. That is progression. That is a team that wants to evolve. Man United are still... You know, but basically we're Bagel FC. And what Ollie's doing is he's cut the bagel in half and he's putting the filling in. But the filling's all round the edge. There's still a hole in the middle. So he can add Sancho, he can add Varane, but it's just all a filling for Bagel FC. There's a massive hole in the middle. He's got to fill the hole in the middle. That's what he's got to do. You can butter your bagel as much as you like. You can put a bit of ham on. You can put some cheese. You can put a bit of American mustard on. Zinging. Lovely. But there's still a hole in the middle. He's got to fill the hole in the middle. Make it into a sandwich. That's what Pep would do. I hope to see Cristiano Ronaldo back soon, says Sad. And did you see US versus Mexico? Would you take any Americans to United, says Jacob? You think the Glazers would have better scouting in their own damn country? Well, we should have bought Pulisic from Dortmund because, yeah, you want the American market and the Glazers are American. But this is what I mean. They don't know anything about football. They don't know anything about football. Wikipedia has Sancho down as a United player. This happens all the time. It doesn't mean it's true. Which league do you think Haaland will choose first, says Matt Hunt? I think he will end up in the Premier League. I think Chelsea will get him. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I do think Chelsea will get him. Anyway, look, thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe, bottom right hand corner to do that. Remember, we will be going live if there is any big news. We were live on Saturday night. So we could be live. You don't know. Look, do I think we'll be going live because Sancho signs before the Euros on Friday? No, I don't. Would I like it to happen? Yes, I would. Do I think it's all been a bit of a smokescreen to get people to forget about the Glazer out campaign? Yes. I think this has been leaked early to shut you all up. But look, I might get proved wrong. I hope I am wrong. But I don't think we're going to do a deal before the Euros. And if we don't do a deal before the Euros, I don't think we're going to do a deal before July. So, you know, that's just the way it is. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. We'll be back in the morning as per usual with the 10 o'clock show. I've got a good interview tomorrow as well. Excited about that. That'll be going up tomorrow afternoon probably. Very excited about that. I'm not going to drop any hints because you don't know whether it'll happen. But it's a good one with somebody you will know. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you all in a bit. Have a great evening. Hope you enjoyed the show. Energy. United need some energy in the transfer window. This is a Sampdoria top. Look them up. Early 90s. Mancini and Vialli. What a side. Speak to you in a bit.